Hello everyone, I am back, and today I just want to give my thoughts and opinions on the Humanware Braille e-reader from the NLS. So, I have been reading on it for some time, and I, don't really sit as much as I used to. Like, I remember back in school, Braille was all that I read, was all that I knew and everything. So sitting and reading for a long period of time can be not strenuous, but it can make you feel tired. It kind of reminds me of back in the olden days when all we had was Braille writers. We didn't have none of this technology that you'd see like the iPhones, the Braille writers that talked from Mountbatten, and other useful, peaceful technologies like the talking typer and APH Brailling Speaks started coming out in the 90s apparently, and the Braille Plus mobile managers, which I don't see, I don't even have anymore. I wish I did. However, I got the e-reader to test it out from the NLS. I heard about it from a friend of mine that I've known for 12 years. Shout out to Skylar Jarvis, everybody. Check out Skylar Jarvis Media or Wholehearted Entertainment. Check them out, give them a like and comment, and you'll find some really good content like Skylar's podcasts and all that kind of good stuff. But I've been doing some thinking. What should I do for my next YouTube video? Well, there's clearly nothing to destroy, obviously. I could put a talking clock out of its misery and then I would just turn around and I guess buy it more, which I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to waste my time. I have 3 of the same one. I, could technically give 2 out of 3 away to have the same voice, but I don't want to do that. But then yet again, I won't make any money off of that. So my whole thing is back to the Humanware Braille e-reader. This replaces Braille paper. This replaces Braille writing in many ways possible, and this is why. So, how do I best describe it? Because I'm not really that good at describing stuff. Either that or I do it way too much and I confuse everybody. So, it's like a Braille writer and Braille paper rolled into one. It's like a sighted person's laptop. Think about it. The screen is visual for a laptop. You have keys, you have a backspace key, and you have numbers and stuff like that. What happened with the Braille cells is they take the concept of a Braille writer and made it into a miniature Braille writer that you can read books off of, connect it to your phone, and you can even send text messages with it. So they converted it into a keyboard, a Braille writer, and a computer all rolled into one. If that does not make sense, I've tried to explain it the best way that I could. You have a good battery life on it, which in sleep mode, mine has lasted 4 days. Now, considering I'm in the middle of currently reading something on it, I don't want it to die. I put it in sleep mode and I check the battery every day. And when it gets down to at least, 5%, I plugged it in. So, now, I just sit here and I read on it. So, the only time I read with it is when I'm bored. So, I could be on a phone call with somebody like Walmart, for example, like when I'm trying to take care of some personal business or whatnot. I can sit down and I can read from where I've left off. You have a circular button. I don't know the names of all the buttons because I'm too lazy to remember them, but I do know exactly where they are. You have a pinning button. You have two pinning buttons. One close to the right button, which it moves you, I think, from section to section. I don't know. To me, it felt like a pinning button, but the neat thing they also did was they took a USB block the Humanware made, which I think is a 12 watt USB. It has to be, considering that it's bigger than a 5 watt adapter. And they labeled it NLS in Braille. That's the really neat thing. When it's asleep or off, it is all full cells for the 20 set, or not set, but for a 20 cell Braille display. There are full cells when it turns off. When it turns on, it pops up with whatever is on the screen. So it's like a laptop's version of a blank screen. My overall view, as you can probably guess after the battery plummet in the ZoomX e-reader, I put the ZoomX e-reader away and I have been mainly using the Humanware Braille e-reader. Now, the reason why I have both products is because it's a pilot program that the National Library Service for the Blind requires you to enter for you to get the better product. I don't know why they do that, considering that everybody has literally turned in and said that the ZoomX is nothing but shit. Literally. It's terrible. And at first I was like, it might be not that bad. And I opened it up and absolutely, opened the box, didn't take the unit apart or anything. Opened the box, pulled out it while on this with you guys, and my first thought was, oh my God, are you kidding me? Within 15 minutes of having it, I don't know what the battery percentage is. I want to at least say it was at 67%. And when I got it, it went down to 52%. Then it went down to 49%, and it probably stayed there, and the battery is probably dead because I haven't used it. So the one thing that I know is it's noisy, it's loud, it's obnoxious, because it sounds like a ticking clock when you're moving with it. And then on the other side, too, it sounds very, very loud. It sounds very loud with the keys. When you're typing everything that you need to type in and you're trying to type in your Wi-Fi, I didn't even get it set up. And I can verify that it's not connected to the Wi-Fi because I didn't even connect it. I was just playing with the keys, and that's all she wrote. I didn't even know how to get to the Wi-Fi settings on there. And also with the Zoom X, it doesn't have the crispy braille cells that you can actually feel and that's understandable to read. So whoever made that did a very poor job. And if it's by Zoom, the only thing that's really good is their live features and stuff like that. And I'm not sure about the Zoom H1 Essentials, but if they want to get to know what we are all about, they need to study things like Humanware, National Library Service, and stuff like that. They need to literally go through APH, and somebody's got to teach them how to do their job efficiently. So that's why you heard me put it in the box, and I literally said, I'm not opening this again. I'm not. I put the booklet in there. I should have never took the instructions out to look at it to begin with because I have already heard some negative things about it. Now, my curiosity was piqued, so I took advice and I went and I checked it out. My first thought was, I'm not impressed. So, that's the first thing. I'm not impressed. Impress me some other way. I went to check out the other device that I got, which was the Humanware Braille e-reader, and you heard my most comments. They are smooth to mess with. If you're looking at the Braille cells, like if you're feeling them and you're able to read, it feels exactly like your traditional Braille that you'd get from a menu and something. It never wears out. You can read it time and time again. You can leave it till the next day and the Braille dots come back up, refreshed and everything, ready to read. You can't even scratch or erase the cells. You cannot do that. This is not the kind that you erase with a Braille eraser, because these are actual pins inside of a unit. And there's battery somewhere inside there and a shoulder strap attached to it. So that's going to be a device that I will definitely keep reading. I will turn the other one in probably in September. I want to get the Zoom X one out of my face and call it a day. So I'm going to let you hear me read on it for a bit. And you're going to hear me make some comments. So I'm going to show you, after a period of a day or two, what it was like and what it's like as I sit down here at my desk. Don't mind the squeaky chair in the background. I have cords everywhere. So along here there are full cells. The power button is on the left. We'll pop that up. You heard it jump to start and it connected to my phone. "14 minutes, 37 seconds we've recorded so far. 69% battery, and that's 2 days, 1 day with barely any use. So I'm sitting down. Let's act like I'm on hold real quick. I'm using the panning buttons. Let me read that correctly. If you've selected, okay, so. So I noticed something when there's kind of a blank line, because for an example, instructions manuals and stuff like that, somebody doesn't know how to type correctly, either that or they're trying to be a little too perfect. I had to move twice to get to the next line. So you're going to have to constantly do the scrolling. I don't like the automatic scroll because I can't, even at a slower speed, I can't sit here and read as fast as I used to because I'm not out of practice. I just never been able to be a fast reader. Now, I like how it feels when I'm reading it. It has a nice long 20 cell display, so it feels like I'm able to understand it. So I'm going to try to erase. I can't erase anything. I'm going to try to take the ED off. So I'm scratching at it. I can't erase it. The dot for the ED is pushed up. So this cannot be erased. I'm going to use the panning button again to keep reading. And another thing is, when you have braille cells that are so close on the far left, it cuts everything off, and it feels interesting. It feels like it's saying something that it's not supposed to, that I'm not supposed to read. So like, for an example, the cat jumped over the burrito box and landed in the cheese puff container, and it had the so close together that it's hanging off, and it feels like it's a with sign. So it's like, wait, what? So if you're reading instructions, for an example, on a book player or about a book player that's coming out or whatever, the best option to read that is with your voiceover and all of that. And voiceover pronounces everything correct because it's not all smushed together. So it's like having a personal assistant on your phone reading your screen for you, in case if some of you people go, what the hell is voiceover? Now I'm about to get into a story about that in just a second, because I think you guys need to know a little background about how I discovered voiceover. So I'm going to act like I'm still on hold real quick. And I'm going to say, I'm getting ready to be off hold. I scroll. Alright, now let's say I'm off hold. I turn the screen off. I'm going to get up and let's act like I'm on the phone for a second. Walk over, set my phone down, and I start talking. Now, let me do this before I get into the story behind my first time I used voiceover. So, I want to compliment Humanware on something. So, I'm not sure if anybody from Humanware watches YouTube and has came across any videos of mine, but in case if they do, I want to say thank you for making such a good product, because not only is it crisp and clear, but you guys have made a masterpiece that completely takes over the market of traditional $800 Braille writers. Okay? Not only that, but for a laptop, this replaces a laptop in a way, except it kind of doesn't. The screen reader you have for an e-reader is Braille. Now, if they made laptops where the screen was Braille, that's fine. Now, they've made an Android tablet into a Braille display. And I think that was called the Braille Note Touch. But I'm going to make this short and simple, and then I'm about to get off here and go take care of something real quick. But the one thing that I want to say is my first time I used VoiceOver, I was like 14 years old. And me and a parent went to go, and I was at the time where I was switching phones. I didn't know what phone I wanted. I was very confused. And I went in, and nobody told me that the iPhones had VoiceOver. So it was an iPhone 4S. I got it home. It started talking. I didn't know what to do. So the next day, I complained about it, took the phone back, and got the Incognito back. And that's the original phone that I had. And all I could practically do was give it voice commands and make phone calls to family members and stuff like that. And after some time, when the Incognito died, I got the 5C and instantly learned how to use VoiceOver. I had to at this point because I needed a phone. So, ladies and gentlemen, this background story is, if you've learned how to use an iPad, you can sure learn how to use a phone. The iPad is a tablet. It's much bigger than an iPhone. You can't carry it in your pocket unless you're Bigfoot and you got big pockets that you can put a pickup truck in. Then you can carry an iPad with no problem. Or if you're a macho man and you wear a size 300 with a pocket that is so deep, you can practically put an entire refrigerator in there with no problem and carry it. So I'm just going to say this. iPads are technically mini computers, is what I've been told, and so are phones. Everything has a computer chip in it. So we've covered different technologies, so we all know where this is going to go. This is not going into the talking product section. Now, the device that I'm going to be covering whenever everything gets shipped out, because I've been on a waiting list for this product for a while, and they've been saying that it's going to be here during the spring. Now they're saying it's going to be there during July and into August. And believe me, when they do, I will make sure to do a unboxing and setting up. I may not be able to have a keyboard with me whenever it comes out, or I might. So, that is your only hint. Everybody can take a guess about the video that I'm going to be doing next. All I'm going to say is this is an item that you can get from National Library Service of the Blind free of charge. As long as you take care of the product and you're an NLS patron, then that's all that matters. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe. And that is my overall review about the Humanware Braille e-reader. I really like the product, like I said. And I'm going to be using this thing until it stops working. So, y'all have fun, take care, and see you in the next video.